Welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Talks. I'm your host, Glass Crossfield. We are changing the world one podcast at a time. And today we have the world renowned best selling author here with us today. Please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, good to be here.
Talk about why you decided to go this route and why you decided to talk about the things you talk about in your books.
Okay, well, I'll just start with this. I refer to myself as a recovering nice guy. For much of my life, I would have said I'm a nice guy. Why doesn't everybody, act like I act? Why isn't everybody respectful and generous and conflict avoidant? And in my early 30s, I was in my second marriage, and my then wife said to me, "You're not such a nice guy. Everybody thinks you're such a nice guy, but you're not. You can be a real asshole. You can treat me really badly. You can be passive aggressive. You can hurt my feelings." She said, "You need to go get help." And I thought, why do I need to get help? You're the one who's angry all the time, moody all the time, always in a bad mood. Nothing I do is good enough. So I actually got into therapy to figure out why me being a nice guy didn't make my wife love me and appreciate me more. And luckily, I started finding some good information, like about setting boundaries, about being honest, being transparent, making my needs a priority, just being clearer about things, about dealing with difficult situations and conversations. And over time, as I was kind of working on myself and beginning to understand why me being quote nice guy didn't make me so nice after all, I was a marriage and family therapist for many years. That's my background and training is in marriage therapy. So a lot of guys were coming to see me with their wives or girlfriends, and they were saying the same things I was saying. I'm a great guy. I treat her better than her ex. I'm raising her kids. I give her everything she wants. I try to make her happy. It's never good enough. She's never happy. She's always in a bad mood. She never wants to have sex anymore. And I thought, man, I can finish these guys' sentences for them. Now, I also started seeing guys coming to me who were single, and they're saying, I've got lots of female friends, but none of them want to date me. That was back before maybe friend zone was a term, but they say, they all tell me, oh, you're going to make some lucky woman so happy one day, but they don't want to be my girlfriend. And I thought, okay, I'm not the only one that thinks being a nice guy is going to give me what I want in life, is going to attract women, is going to make women happy. So I started a nice guy, no more Mr. Nice Guy men's group, probably almost 30 years ago. We met every week. I started just writing some lessons, chapters, blogs, we would call them now. And I would just give them to them every week when we met. And I was just writing about things that I was coming to understand where this nice guy paradigm comes from, why it's a faulty roadmap for life, why thinking if we're just nice, people will like us and love us and we'll get our needs met, and how to be more assertive, how to be more honest, how to be more transparent, how to have more boundaries, how to make your needs a priority, how to connect more with men. Um, and I just kept writing these lessons, and the men in my groups and often their wives and girlfriends say, Robert, you should write a book. You should go on Oprah. This could be a bestseller. Well, I never got on Oprah, but the book came out 20 years ago, and royalty checks keep getting bigger every year. So, more and more men and women are discovering the books. So that's kind of the short background of how I
Hmm.
happened to write a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Now, a lot of women claim that they want to be in a relationship with a nice guy, and we all know that's not true. So why do you think so many women seemingly lie about wanting to be in a relationship with?
That's a good question because for us men, it sounds like a lie because we've all heard women say, "Oh, I want a nice guy. I want a guy who treats me well." And if you're a nice guy listening to them talk about their relationships with men, they keep going back to the guy that treats them like shit. He cheats on them, he disappears, has sleeps with her best friend, he can't be counted on, doesn't have a job, whatever, and they keep going back to that. And so that's really confusing to us. Now, here's the thing. I believe that in general, when a woman says she wants a nice guy who treats her well, I believe in general she really believes that she really does want that. But here is the issue, and there's different ways we can look at it. But here's one way to kind of phrase it. For most of human history, million and a half to 2.5 million years, our human ancestors were tribal. We traveled in tribes. We were hunters and gatherers. The men, hunted, fought other tribes. The men were fierce. The men could get stuff done. Um, and then, for about 10,000 years ago, we became more agrarian. We quit being hunters and gatherers. We quit living in tribes. We settled down and we owned some land. We owned trees. We owned some goats. And the men started owning their wives and owning their kids. That's where the term patriarchy comes from, is that the men kind of owned and ran everything. So what happened is that historically, evolutionarily, women are used to being around men and connecting with men that were fierce, that were warriors, that were hunters, that could provide and protect in powerful ways. And so there's something about that creates a sense of security and well-being for a woman. And I'm making a generalization. Women can go out and, they get more advanced degrees than men now. They're often out earning men, and they can buy their own cars, buy their own houses. They don't need us to quote provide and protect. But on an emotional level, they need to feel some sort of fierceness from a man. Now they mistake the jerks, bad behavior, unavailable, treats them bad. That feels more like fierceness to them than the nice guy's passively pleasing behavior. Oh, I'll listen to you talk about your problems. Oh, I'll pay your car payment for you. Oh, sure, I'll come pick you up and take you to meet your ex, because you don't have a car. I'll do those things for you, and then you'll like me. So none of that's boring to women. None of that feels fierce. None of that feels like we could provide or protect. My second wife used to say to me, because I'd be all passive and walking on eggshells and trying to make her happy, and if she was mad at me, I'd get all anxious, and she would say to me, how can I know that you'll ever stand up for me if I don't even know you can stand up to me? Right? She wanted some fierceness. She wanted a man who could say, we're not going to do it that way. I'm not afraid of your anger. She used to say, I'm just a little girl making noise, and when you get all scared of me, I don't feel safe. So I do think women in general do want a man who will treat them well. But I know in my experience, like my third wife, I've been married 6 years to my present wife. I treat her like gold, and I provide a good life for her. But most women don't actually believe that a guy would even want to do that for them. I mean, there's a lot of entitled women out there that think a man should give them everything. But if a guy really shows up with love and presence and consciousness and strength, that often scares a woman because they're not used to that. And so they often test it. They poke at it. That's the shit test that we hear. We want to find out, are you really that strong? Are you really man enough to be my man? Are you really the fierce hunter warrior that my female ancestors, connected with? So as I said, I think it's a mistaken identity because women want something strong. And the jerk, the asshole just feels like something more stronger, more energetic. It creates an emotional tension for them that the nice guy doesn't. Nice guys don't create any emotional tension. And in my experience, women have to experience some sort of emotional tension to be attracted to a man, to be turned on by him.
Yo, women are far too complex.
I know. We guys, we're pretty one dimensional. Hey,
Yes.
line up the dots, line up the ones and zeros. The machine should run and keep running, and not, and it's just kind of, that's a guy thing.
It's funny that you mentioned the fierceness because I've heard a few women say to me, and my jaw dropped when I heard this statement confirmed. They said, I don't want to be hit, but I want the fear of being hit there.
Yeah. And you're going, what does that even mean? Right. Yeah.
Literally.
But you know what? I think that's really kind of a really deep statement, that they don't want to be hit. They don't want to be hurt, but they also want to know we can stand up to them. They also want to know we can draw a line. They also want to know we can say enough. They also want to know we can say, hey, I'm going to get off the phone now. Call me back when you're in a better mood. They want to know we got some balls and a backbone. Because again, like my ex-wife used to say, if we can't stand up to them, how do they ever know we can stand up for them? How do they know that we're going to be a fierce, penetrating force in the world? And again, that's not a nice guy. I often make a comment when I'm doing, coaching calls and webinars, especially with women coaches that maybe women coaches that coach both men and women. And I'll say that the feminine women are highly attracted to a man who's comfortable in his own skin, knows where he's going, and looks like he's having a good time going there. And the women coaches always they nod their heads, They women are drawn to a guy that's got his shit together. That doesn't mean perfect. Women also tend to be drawn to potential. They can see it in a man when he's got some skills, when he's got some passion, when he's got a purpose and a mission, and he knows where he's going. That's attractive to females. And again, most nice guys those aren't descriptors of the average nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are avoiding conflict, trying to keep the peace, trying to please people. We use what I call covert contracts. We're giving to get. Oh, if I do these nice things for you, you'll like me and appreciate me, and you'll do nice things for me. You'll appreciate me. And that stuff doesn't turn women on. But that's so confusing to us guys. We think they want to be treated well. I do everything for her. How come that doesn't make her happy? But no, it turns us into what I call a girlfriend with a penis. We're just that good, maybe the gay guy friend that's going to listen to them talk about fashion and their problems and their ex. And we think, oh, that'll make them want to get naked with us. It doesn't. It just doesn't do it.
So, why do so many women? You might have answered this already, but why do you think so many women end up resenting nice guys?
I think there's probably any number of reasons. It probably is different in every situation. But one of the things I found, like my ex-wife told me, she said, "You're not such a nice guy." And so I think that's part of the problem is we think we're being nice. The truth is most nice guys are not at all honest. We don't say what we really think, what we really want, where we're really going. We're not transparent. We don't really reveal ourselves. We don't ever set the tone and lead. We often leave that up to the woman. Well, what do you want to do? You want to go out tonight? What do you want to eat for dinner? What do you want to watch? And I've asked women over and over and over again, because I said I've been a marriage therapist for 35 years. And I'll ask them, how do you like that when your man leaves all the decisions up to you? And they pretty much always say, I hate it. I hate it. They say, I got so many things. I got to go to work. I got to take care of this. I got to take care of that. And then I come home and he goes, you want to do something? And they're going, make a decision for me. And again, like going back to that statement, you say the woman said to you, they don't want to be hit, but they do want some fierceness right there. And most women don't want to be controlled, but they do want a man that has a plan, who knows where he's going. Say, hey, get ready, get up. We're going to go do this. Oh, do we have to? Uh-huh. Last night, my wife, I had a group of men at my house this weekend for a writer's retreat. My wife took the kids, went to a mountain town up outside of Puerto Vallarta, and she got back yesterday afternoon. One of the guys was still there. My wife knows him, likes him a lot. And we were just sitting around talking last night. And I said, I'm hungry. I want to go get some tacos. My wife said, oh, I don't think I'm so hungry. Why don't we just order pizza? And my buddy goes, listen, I live in Costa Rica. When I'm in Mexico, I want to eat street tacos. And I said, we're going for tacos. And she goes, okay. So, me and my buddy and my wife and my 15-year-old daughter, we all went and got street tacos. And we're sitting there eating tacos. And I go, you happy? And my wife goes, yeah, this was a great idea. So she liked it. Not that I controlled anything, but I said, no, let's go do this. We'll enjoy eating the tacos out in the street better than just ordering a pizza to eat at home. And she was happy because I led. So again, when a man won't lead, when a man won't tell the truth, when a man won't say what he really wants, when a man backs down from conflict, when a man can't be depended on, that builds up with a woman. And again, they want to feel safe. They want to feel like a man could provide, protect, be fierce. And all those times we nice guys don't follow through, it feels burdening to the woman, right? Like, okay, I got to step up and take control now. I got to get up and kill the spider. I got to make the decision. I got to make the money. I got to get the car fixed. And that feels burdening to women, and they resent that. And after a while, they fall out of love with the guy, and then they just kind of get resentful, and just poke at him, and because they feel like the guy has left everything on them.
Interesting, interesting. So now some nice guys who are trying to break out of that mold, they oftentimes take the extreme route, right? Like I'm not gonna be nice anymore, so I'm gonna become evil.
I'll become evil. That's what they really want. They want the evil man. And you're right about that, guys. As you already said, we're not complicated. We're black and white. It's either this or it's that, right? It's not this like all over the map. We're like that. So what most men think? Well, if being nice doesn't work, I guess I'll become an asshole because that's what they want. And how I tend to explain it to men, I think both the asshole jerk and the wussy doormat, right, the nice guy and the asshole are really on the same sphere. They're on the same plane. They are both managing their anxiety. And the nice guy manages anxiety. They're both in what's called fight, flight, freeze mechanism. We probably have all heard of that. The nice guy's in the flight freeze. He tries to control and manipulate people and situations around him so he doesn't feel anxious. The asshole jerk is also in an anxiety state, but he's in the fight. Right? He dominates. He's aggressive. He's abusive. He does that to manage people and situations. So I tell guys, breaking out of the nice guy syndrome doesn't mean becoming an asshole jerk. And it does. And a lot of guys say, "Well, I need to find a happy balance between the two." And I go, "Well, I don't know where the tipping point is between two dysfunctional extremes. If both the asshole and the wussy doormat are just trying to manage their anxiety and just doing it in different ways, that's not the answer." So I teach men we got to rise to another plane. We have to learn some skills. We have to learn to soothe ourselves, to be able to calm our nervous system, to soothe ourselves, to take action even when we feel anxious. We need to learn something called differentiation. That's the ability to ask ourselves, what do I want? And then follow through on that, even if we get anxious, or excuse me, there's change back messages from people outside of us. We need to learn to be honest. We need to learn to be boundaried. We need to learn to make our needs a priority. That's another sphere. That's not just becoming less nice and more angry or more asshole. And so that's what I call an integrated man. The integrated man is the man who can soothe his anxiety and take powerful action. The integrated man's a man that can tell the truth. And telling the truth is so powerful because if you think about it, every time you tell a lie, and to me, a lie is anything that's less than the whole truth. Well, I just left out that little piece, or I just didn't bring that up, or I just misdirected them to something else I didn't want them to be mad about. That's lying. And that makes you feel like a child. All children lie because they feel helpless and vulnerable. So children lie to level the playing field between them and the big adults. The adults have all the power. So if we grow up to be adults and we're still telling lies, we're still going to feel helpless and powerless and weak. So learning to tell the truth in all things is really, really empowering. And believe it or not, it's really attractive to women. Women have basically told me, I can handle a difficult truth. I just can't handle being lied to. So, for example, maybe you fucked up, right? You made a mistake. My wife came home like from this trip last night, and there were like 4 or 5 bags of garbage in our front yard. We have a gate, and we have to put it out on the street at night. Well, I hadn't put it out while she was gone, and she kind of gives me this dirty look, and I said, "I forgot on Saturday, and they don't come on Sunday." I said, "Yeah, I messed up. I could have done it better." And then like she was okay with it, right? I just told her the truth. I messed up. I forgot to put it out Saturday, and we'll put it out tonight. But if I'd lied and made excuses and blah blah blah, she would have seen right through that and would have stayed resentful at me. So women can handle a difficult truth. In fact, they respect a man who will tell the difficult truth. They know they can trust that. And they know a man, like I said, a man who knows what he wants in life, who knows where he's going, and having a good time going there. That's that integrated male. He knows what he's want. He's getting out, kicking ass, putting a dent in the universe. And women are really attracted and turned on to all of those features of the integrated male. And even though, like we said, they might be attracted to the jerk, because what other alternative do they have besides the nice guy? How many integrated males do you guys know? The guy that's out there telling the truth. He can soothe his anxiety. He can take powerful action. I mean, you got to, on that poster behind you, with Kobe and Kareem and, some pretty amazing people. Yeah, got it. Is that Shaq back there too?
Yeah.
Those are all guys that fucking put a dent in the universe, right? And don't you know they had women chasing them all the time? Not because they were rich, not because they were basketball stars, but just the way they walked the planet and made a difference. They were masterful at what they did. And that's a big turn on to the feminine.
Mm.
So what if because I've been told Well, I think it was only one person I was with that actually respected me for being very truthful. But from what I noticed, it seems like women say they want an honest guy until you're too honest with them, and I've seen that to where it's like, okay, you're a bit too honest, or I wish you would have lied to me about this or lied to me about that. And I'm like, what are
I hear
you
you.
talking about?
I get it. I get it. It sounds like there's so many contradictions here. Now,
Yeah.
we got to remember, okay, one of the things we men do is we put women up on a pedestal, and especially attractive women or women we are attracted to. We put them on a pedestal. We think they got their act together. We think they know everything. We think they know their feelings. We think they have high self esteem. Usually, none of that's true. I remember several years ago, my stepson, who's now like 37, was like 12. And they were sitting watching like an adolescent drama show on TV, 90210 or something like that. And the girls were, on the show were creating all this drama. And my son at like 12 years old is watching that, and his 15-year-old sister sitting there like doing her homework, with the TV on. And my son just looks at his sister, my stepdaughter, and says, why do girls do that? And he was referring to the girls on the show creating all kinds of crazy bullshit drama because that's what teenagers and girls like to watch is drama. And my daughter, without even looking up from her book, just goes, "How the hell would I know? I don't even know why I do what I do half the time." And so you got to keep that in mind. A woman says, "I want an honest guy. I want a nice guy," and we go, "Okay, believe them, take them at their word." But then they go out and they watch themselves say they want a nice guy, and they watch themselves keep going back to the jerk, right? They watch themselves say, "I want an honest guy," and then you tell them, and when they say, "Were you looking at her ass?" and you go, "Yeah, she's kind of cute." No, I don't want to hear that. Now they're bringing it up. I can't even trust you because you're looking. You say, "Wait a minute, you wanted the truth. I told you the truth." Yeah, I was checking her out, right? And then
Mhm.
like they clam up and they don't talk to you, and then they punish you with that. And we're going, what the hell? They said they want the truth. So realize, you know, they are as messed up and broken and confused as any of us are. Okay. And they're going to say one thing and do another. And they bring all their own baggage, their own insecurities. And just think about, again, when we put women on a pedestal, especially the attractive women, we think, well, they got their shit together. But think about it. Every woman since they were little girls have been comparing themselves to every other little girl, every other woman. And because that's what the feminine does, it compares itself to get its sense of value. And even though they want to be pretty and be pretty and get praise and get compliments, when they're little girls and grow up to be teenagers, they want attention, they want to be noticed. They can always look around and they can see some other girl or a lot of other girls who are cuter than them, prettier than them, have bigger boobs than them, have better bodies than them, even if they're hot. Right. Even if they're like just you're turning your head going, wow, she's that same woman who you think's hot is going to look around and go, but that woman's hotter. Of course, you'll want her, not
Mm,
me. So can you see how that creates an insecurity
mm,
that 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 makes it hard to feel secure within yourself? I had a buddy, and we were in Las Vegas. I don't know, 15 years ago. Uh, we were leading a dating workshop in Las Vegas at the Palms in Las Vegas. So he and we got there a day early, and we had some time, and we were sitting by the pool and drinking iced tea by the Palms pool. I mean, there's lots of celebrities that come and hang out there, a lot of really attractive women, and of course, all the waitresses out by the pool are all hot, and they'll have a little short outfits on and everything. And I told my buddy, I said, let's try something. So we called the waitresses over, one after another, maybe three different waitresses. And I would say to each of the women, I say, hey, my buddy and I, we were talking here. I said, I've got a theory. I said, every woman, no matter how hot she is, has something about herself she doesn't like. And I go, okay. And I would say, you're an attractive woman. You're a hot woman. So I'm already putting it out there. I know she's attractive. She knows she's attractive. And I say, what's your point of insecurity? Every one of these hot waitresses, walking around serving drinks at the Palms bar, every one of them, without even hesitating, told us what they thought was flawed about them. One of them said, "Oh yeah, I don't like my complexion. I've always had problems with my complexion." Just without even thinking, she said that. And I looked and I go, "Yeah, if you look hard, you can see maybe she had issues with her complexion." The other one says, "I don't like that I'm bow-legged. I grew up riding horses and I kind of walk funny." Uh, okay, yeah, I can kind of see that. The other one, I think, said something like she works out, but she thought her legs were too thick or something. And I thought, okay. So every one of these women that my buddy and I, of course, think were hot and attractive, every one of them, without even hesitation, could tell us when every time they look in the mirror, every time they've looked in the mirror since they were pre-teenagers, they saw that flaw standing out at them. And so they assume everybody else sees how flawed they are as well. And every time they look at another attractive woman, they're going, "She's so much prettier than I. She has a nicer ass than me. She has better boobs than me. She's taller than me. She has prettier hair than me. Blah, 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 blah." And then we guys think they're going to be like really secure and consistent and not crazy. And if we grew up comparing ourselves to every other guy and continuously focusing on how we weren't good enough, we'd feel pretty insecure in our own skin. So you just need to know that most women do that. I'm not saying they all do it, but you can assume the majority do. They're constantly negatively comparing themselves. And so they assume you are too, right? And so they're just waiting for you to find the flaws in them and dump them. And the more together of a guy you are, the more you got your shit together, they're going to be attracted to that, but it's going to scare them because they're going to see, "Oh man, that guy's got his shit together. That turns me on. I like that about him." And they're also going to notice other women are noticing you because that's what happens when a guy's got his shit together. The other women notice and they're going, I'm attracted to Prince. Other women are attracted to Prince. Oh no, he's going to like them better than me. He's going to leave me. So they get more insecure, they get more crazy making with their behavior, all because they can see you got choices. You can pick somebody else if you want. Now, it doesn't matter how much you love them. I love my wife dearly. My wife knows I love her dearly. I treat her like gold. She's Mexican. When I met her, she was been poor her entire life. Grew up in poverty in Guadalajara, Mexico. 2 kids, and I mean just funny as hell, smart as hell, sexy as hell. And I make her world beautiful. But she's constantly afraid some other woman's going to come along and I'm going to want the other woman and I'm going to take away everything I've ever given her and give it to the other woman. She even tells me, "You're going to kick me out of my house. You're going to, you're going to take the cars away. You're going to take away my Lululemon, all that stuff." And she always says, if I ever leave, I'm just leaving with what I brought in the relationship. I go, "Okay, well, you can take your shoes and your microwave with you. Leave the rest of it behind." I joke with her just to say, "Hey, you're not leaving and I'm not kicking you out." But yeah, she lives in constant fear. I'm going to find someone better. And so she that leads to all kinds of crazy making behavior. And I've learned just to smile at it, just to say that's her way of saying she's afraid, and just to, love on her more and be strong and be solid and be that force of nature, that fierceness that she really wants.
Isn't that a good kind of fear to have? Because it's kind of like a keep them in line type of thing, to where it's like I don't I'm very militant with how I do things. So it's like okay, if you know that you're easily replaceable, you'll think twice about foolishness.
You would think that is true. You would think that's true, and I agree. And I do agree with you. I think it actually is a good fear to a degree. One guy I was doing a Q&A call a while back, and he said, "Robert, can you compare dread game to blah blah blah?" And I go, "I don't know what dread game is." And so I looked it up. It's a red pill term that there's value in your partner dreading that you'll leave them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and to a degree, there's truth to it. There's a lot of psychology and like red pill mentality that has some truth to it, but most of it is a truth to a degree, right? And so, for example, yeah, if you or I or a woman, doesn't matter who, has a little bit of fear that our partner, could choose somebody else, there you would think that would make us try hard, and be our best and don't fuck up and don't do things that would push them away. The truth is what it does to most people is it makes them afraid. They put up their guard, their protection, their defense mechanisms that says, I don't want to get hurt. You could leave me for someone else. And we can look around and say, you know, as men go, well, my woman's hot. Men are hitting on her. She could leave me for that guy. He's younger than me. He's buffer than me. He has more hair than me. He's richer than me. Maybe he has a bigger dick than me. And so you'd think that would make us work harder. But usually what we do is we just work harder at nice guy stuff. Oh, I'll treat her nice. I'll buy her stuff. I'll put up with her shit. I'll listen to her talk about her problems. You know, blah, 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 blah. And what it should do is it should give us a greater confidence that, you know, if she wants to be with me, she'll be with me. If she doesn't, she won't. But I want a woman who wants to be with me. Now, if that gives you more confidence that you go, hey, baby, you know, come hang with me if you want. If you want to be with him, go be with him. That makes you confident and attractive. But if it just scares us to where our defense mechanisms come up, and that's true with women as well. You know, if you know, they have that dread game going on. Oh man, my guy's, you know, my guy's stud, you know, my guy's a Kobe, my guy's a Shaq, my guy's, you know, he's got his game together. Other women are going to be attracted to that, and he'll have lots of choices. He could choose those other women. You would think that would make them, for lack of a better term, put out, you know, show up in a more loving, you know, affectionate, sensual, caring, you know, to bring their A game. But for most women, in my experience, that just makes them more afraid. They put their walls up. I'm not going to let you hurt me. I know you're going to leave me. So I'm going to put my walls up, put my defenses up, not treat you well. You know, just I'm going to be withdrawn. I'm going to be depressed. I'm going to be moody. And so it doesn't tend to bring out the best in them. Now, with that said, I don't think you, as a man, you have any other choice other than to be your most integrated, conscious, open-hearted, masterful self. Be a man who's putting a fucking dent in the universe. Walk the planet like you got your shit together. Bring your A game to everything that you do. Now, I say a man who lives like that is magnetically attractive to all things feminine. Women, dogs, cats, babies, money, adventure, opportunity. Those are all feminine. Whatever's not nailed down and constant, that's feminine. And the man who's walking the planet, like I said, he's comfortable in his own skin, knows where he's going, can ask himself, what do I want? And follow through on that, even when there's all the noise around him that says, don't do that. You don't be that way. And you just go your direction. That's attractive. Now, granted, you get with a woman who, in her insecurities, you're going to get triggered. My man can choose anybody he wants. I love my wife dearly, but she is constantly in fear that I'm going to pick some other woman. When she left on Friday to you know, with all my buddies here in the house, there were 4 of my friends came, and we're had, like I said, this writers workshop, and we do it every year. And she always takes the kids and goes and has a little vacation, and you know, leaves the house to us. Well, on her way out the house, she said, "All right, everybody, listen." And in Spanish, she says, "Solo tengo una regla: no putas en la casa." So I only have one rule: yeah, no putas, no whores, no sluts, no, you know, no women in the house. And we all laughed and said, "Okay, none in the house." Now, one of my buddies, the one that we went out with tacos with last night, he's gay, and he says, "Hey, how about me? Can I have putas in the house?" She goes, "Yes, you can. The rest of them can't." So she could laugh at her own insecurity by you know, making this, you know, no prostitutes in the house, and you're kind of leaving it open to, like, you know, whatever you do outside the house, you know. But it was a joke on her part to make fun of the fact that she was insecure, that a bunch of men get together, a bunch of conscious, fierce men that are making a difference in the world, they're going to be pretty attractive to other women, right? And so every time she leaves, like to go do that little trip and leaves me here with my buddies for a weekend, I know she's facing really deep fears. Her fear is that, of course, we'll go find some other women and she'll come home and, you know, she'll be replaced. So I respect the hell out of her that she has that fear and those insecurities, but she shows up anyway, and she can make a joke about it, and she can be playful about it, and she can just let me know that she's afraid, but not push me away and not put her walls up and not close off. That's a good woman in my eyes. And that's one of the main reasons I'm with her. She's the most emotionally adaptive woman I know. So yes, be that strong man that triggers their fears and anxiety, just know that for most women, it's going to shut them down. They're going to go into their defense mechanisms. The woman I'm with, my wife, she, for example, when we have sex, she makes up all kinds of dirty stories during sex that involve me doing all kinds of things with other women, just so she, in a sense, has a control over the scenario, over the story. And the shit that she talked to me about while we're having sex, if I ever did it in real life, she'd shoot me. But because she does that to face her fears. If she can create a fantasy about what scares her, it helps give her a sense of control over her fear. Now, that's a smart woman, right? That's a
It's
smart.
different.
And she even says to me, "How come you don't tell me such dirty stories?" And I go, "Because I'm afraid you'll get pissed off if I tell you something really dirty." But I've learned to do that. In fact, she was even telling some of my buddies that this weekend. Goes, "Yeah, Robert, he's he's so white bread. He's such a pussy. He won't even tell me any dirty stories." And I said, "Well, I've got a really good teacher, her, and that's how she deals with her fears, right? She'll go all the way into the fear to where it doesn't control her."
I actually know a girl who I used to talk to. She was freaking nuts. But she mentioned like well, with her ex-boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend ended up cheating on her, and then she actually said like, when she stopped dealing with him, that she actually masturbated to the thought of him cheating.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we're going, huh? All right. Here's something my wife told me
I
years
know.
ago. Like when her jealousy used to come up so strong all the time. "Oh, you're looking at that woman. You're looking at that woman." If I'm on my phone, "Who are you talking to? You're smiling. You must be
I
texting
hate
with a
that.
woman." Yeah, maybe they all do it. I always think maybe I should track the ones that do that. They're always accusing you of something.
Yeah.
And so I used to I get mad about it. I try to, "Why are you being so jealous? I've never cheated on you. I've never lied to you. I've never had a secret. You're gonna look at my phone. I don't have anything in there. You've never seen anything there that wasn't supposed to be there, but you still keep accusing me of this stuff." Until I realized, okay, this isn't working. This isn't making her be less insecure, less jealous. And then she told me, she said, "Even though I get really upset and scared and mad that I think you're with somebody else," she goes, "it also turns me on." And in Spanish, she basically says, cuando tengo celos, estoy caliente. When I have jealousy, I'm hot, I'm horny. And I tried to explain to her the psychology of it, that it's actually true. That jealousy is arousing. It's a powerful aphrodisiac. Because if you're with someone and you think, "Oh, my woman's flirting with some other guy," most of us we want to shut down and we'll get scared. But if it makes you bigger and bolder and say, "Walk up, hey baby, what's going on? You're mine." And the jealousy kind of makes you more aroused, and you want to, in a sense, own her, not in a patriarchal way, but own her like, "Hey, baby, you're mine, I'm yours." And so I realized I needed to try to quit getting my wife to not be jealous, because if her jealousy was turning her on, why would I want to take that away? Right? Why would I want to do anything that made my wife less caliente, less hot, less horny? So I learned to play with it. To now, we'll play with it. And she's asked me, she says, "Okay, just promise me, if you ever think you want to sleep with another woman, you ever want to have sex with another woman," she said, "would you just tell me first?" And I said, "You've had that promise since day one." I said, "If I ever even think I want to sleep with another woman, I'll talk to you about it. I will tell you." So I think the last time she told me this, a few months ago, she said, "Okay, you promise me that if you ever want to sleep with another woman, you'll tell me first?" And I go, "Yes, I promise." And she says, "Because I'll probably want to watch." And I said, "Okay, no problem." So, I
Bro,
mean, again, that's her being such, even with her insecurities, she has a strength about her that says, "I want to face my fears. I want to witness it firsthand," because she goes, "I know it's going to turn me on, while at the same time I want to cut your dick off. I know we're going to make me want to fuck your brains out at the same time."
so quick question. Where do I find one of these?
I,
Where do I find one
I,
of these?
you know what? Here's the deal. I found my wife here in Mexico, and
Of
Mexican
course.
women do kind of have that kind of vibe about them. They do have that energy about
Facts.
them. Eh, but here's the deal. What if we assumed that maybe most women have that kind of energy about them, but they've never felt safe or had permission to like express it, to go
Okay.
with it. So for example, what if like you're with a woman and she kind of starts accusing you of something, and you go, "Ooh, I love it when you get jealous. That kind of makes me hot when you get jealous like that." I said, you kind of like it, don't you, when I'm looking at another woman's ass? No, I hate it. And you go, "Oh, I know you. I know you better than that. It got you thinking things." And tell you what, why don't you tell me your fantasies? Whatever. There's no right way to do this, and I wouldn't want you to try to manipulate anybody. But what if we realized that every woman is in competition with every other woman, and what if you use that to your advantage? I'll give you an example. This is kind of a graphic example, but hey, we're being graphic about stuff. When I got divorced in my late 40s and got out in the dating world, my first two sex partners were my first two wives, and I've been married to the two of them for 25 years. So when I became single, I don't had sex with two women. And what I noticed was women started coming on to me. I'd go on a date and they're getting naked on the first date without me even like, pushing or saying anything. Women, I mean, I went took a Spanish class. There's a woman saying, I don't want to date you. I just want to fuck you. And they were just, women are saying, I don't want a boyfriend. I'm a single mom. I don't have time for a boyfriend, but I haven't been laid in 6 months. You seem like a good guy. Let's go. And so I was getting all these offers to have sex, and I'm thinking, what planet have I landed on? After 25 years of my second wife, we'd go 6 months without sex, and when it did happen, it was terrible. And so here I was, all these women, wanted to have sex with me, and you think I'd be happy, oh man, I've landed on this planet where everybody wants to have sex with me, but it actually made me anxious, right? It triggered an anxiety in me, and when I would have sex, all of a sudden, maybe I wouldn't get hard. I wouldn't get an erection, or I wouldn't stay hard. My anxiety would kick in. And then the more I worried about that, the more of a problem it became. And so, I started looking, all right, Viagra, Levitra. I worked in offices with psychiatrists. I said, what do you recommend? What can I do? They gave me these suggestions of this and that. And the truth was, it was all anxiety that I was dealing with. And anxiety and erections don't tend to play well together. Okay. So what finally I started doing is when I'd have sex with a new partner, I'd first have what I call a pre-sex talk. And I say, okay, looks like clothes are coming off here. Let's talk for a minute. Let's talk about protection, STDs, and unwanted pregnancy. And guys say, oh, you can't talk about that stuff. Yeah, talk about it. Guys think, if she's in the mood, don't kill the buzz. I found that women really respected that because they're worried about that too. They're worried about you're about to put your penis inside them. Do you have anything? Are we use protection? Or, they think about that, but a lot of them won't say anything. So when you say, let's talk for a minute, they respect that. It builds their trust. And now they're more willing to open even further, because when a woman trusts, she'll let you take her. Right. So what I would then tell them when I was kind of struggling, getting or keeping an erection, is I'd tell the women, sometimes with a new partner, I don't always get hard. I don't always stay hard. And I said, how about we just get naked, roll around together, and, do like they do on the Animal Channel, and just see where it goes. And every woman said, yeah, I like that idea. So instead of me thinking like I got to make a porn movie with her and jackhammer her with my constant erection, I said, let's just roll around and enjoy each other's bodies. And they all said, yeah. Now, what I noticed is once I took the pressure off, right, that I had to get an erection and poker with it, took the anxiety away, everything worked okay, right? Mother Nature took over, the operating system worked fine. But here's something I noticed that kind of surprised me. The nice guy part of me thought, if I tell a woman, sometimes with a new partner, blah, 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 I think they'll go, oh, he's a player, blah, blah, blah. I thought they were going to have a negative reaction to me mentioning other women that I've been with before them. What I found is almost without exception, every one of them brought their A game. They worked really hard to make sure they were the woman that got me hard when all those others failed. Right? They were going to be the queen. They were going to be the one that succeeded in getting Robert hard and keeping him hard when all those other women, just couldn't get the job done. And so what I realized, that even that competition, right, brings out that part of them that, they're going to bring their A game. They're going to be the one. They're going to prove, hey, you got the best. So that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. So use the jealousy, use their insecurity, use their, projections, their shit test, their accusations. Use it in a way that heightens that emotional tension, the physical tension, the sexual tension between you, and be man enough to handle that tension. They'll love it. They'll love it.
So next time I get intimate with a woman, I'll just let her know I have issues staying hard.
Hey man, if it works, hey baby, the last woman I was with, I just couldn't get it up, So I
Okay.
just want to
Blame
tell
it
you
on the
that.
girl. Blame it on the
Yeah,
last girl, not myself. Got it.
yeah, blame it on the last girl, and they're going, hey baby, I'll be the one that gets it up. I'll keep it up. So if we can play with these energies and psychological dynamics, and especially kind of in a loving, playful way, not in a manipulative way, and just make it fun. I mean, if you can play with a woman in ways that she's having fun, don't you think she's going to want to keep coming back for that? And I'm not just talking about sex. I'm just talking about how you are. If every time she's with you, you're having a good time, she's having a good time because you're having a good time, they're going to want to keep coming back for that.
So I have an interesting question. So have you heard about the Passport Bros movement?
Say it again.
Have you heard about the Passport Bros movement?
No, what is that?
The Passport Bros, they're basically a group of men. What I've noticed, they have a tendency to be black, and they're basically advising men to stop dealing with women in America and deal with women who have a tendency to be more submissive outside of the United States.
Okay, okay.
So, let's say hypothetically you work out of the nice guy syndrome, and you are on your path to success. Do you recommend the men to take their services elsewhere outside the United States? Because with some people, when they hear your story and they hear you, oh, you took in, a Mexican woman who didn't come from wealth and who struggled. You kind of took the easy way out as far as relationships are concerned and things of that nature. You had to go to the back bushes of a third world country to get the wife that you want.
Yeah,
So
and saying third world's politically incorrect now, apparently. So yeah, here's the thing. That's a really good question. You're right. Um, as I said, when I started dating in my late 40s and had to learn how to date, I used to use nice guy seduction. I'd never tell a woman I wanted to date her or ask her out. I would just, back in college and high school, I just maybe would sit next to her in class and try to answer all the questions from the teacher, the professor, to look smart. I might, listen to her talk about her problems. I might, offer to carry her books for her or do something nice. Yeah, that nice guy seduction that never got me laid. And once I did get a woman, I'd stick around forever just because I didn't know how to go get another woman. And so when I was in my 40s and 50s and decided I'm gonna learn how to date. So I was reading books and watching DVDs and videos and listening to audios, and I got really good at it. And I was getting dates and getting laid. And my clients were saying, "Robert, teach us. What are you doing?" I go, I'm not a dating coach." They go, "Well, teach us. You're having success." So I started, really putting that stuff together, and ended up teaching classes, and I've written 2 books on dating essentials for men and dating essentials for men frequently asked questions. So I got good at it. So what I want to say is I got good at it in the United States. Okay. After my marriage, I didn't want to talk to women for a while. And so I was on my book tour about a year after, 8, 9 months after I split with my second wife. Met a woman in Denver, had sex with her. Now I'm on my book tour. Met a woman in San Francisco that I didn't have sex with, but we started talking and went back a month later. And we had a relationship, and it lasted about 2 or 3 months, and we started having sex. So in Seattle, started meeting women. Everywhere I'd go, I'd meet women and had no problem having sex without me even trying to push women. I don't try to get women to have sex. It seems like the way I show up. I keep getting. I turned 67 last week, and my wife, who's 22 years younger than me, keeps saying like these 22-year-old women are hitting on me. Teenagers hit on me. They do.
wow.
And I'm 67. And it's not because I'm so great looking or so well hung or have a ton of money, but I just have a confidence about me. The way I walk that energetically, I tend to draw that. And my wife points it out to me all the time. And I think she's often right, even though she is, jealous. She's right about the women who are trying to get my attention. So, and that's not just here in Mexico. We'll get on airplanes and the flight attendants, that woman's touching your shoulder. That woman's bending over. That woman's trying to get your attention. And my wife and I travel everywhere. We've been we go to New York. We go to Los Angeles a lot. We just there in LA last week. Probably 3 or 4 different times. She says, you were checking that woman out. That woman's trying to get your attention. Seattle, San Francisco, Vancouver, Houston, New Orleans. I take my wife and I travel a lot. Everywhere we go, she points out women, they're trying to get my attention. So I don't think this is just, quote, foreign women. In fact, I talked to a lot of guys in Europe. And a lot of the guys in Europe I talk to say that so many European women are strong feminists. And, they're this way and that way, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Whenever I go to Europe, I seem to get a lot of attention from women. I've not had any issues with that. And when I'm in Mexico, and I understand, here in like a country like Mexico, if I just make an average American income, say if I just make $100,000 a year, and, I'm around a woman that, lives day to day and, doesn't know how she's going to, buy her kid milk tomorrow. Yeah, of course, you're going to have a high status. You're going to be desirable. There's no doubt about that. But I think if you are confident in yourself and you're bold and you don't hold back and you've worked through any sexual hangups or shame you got that kind of gets in your own way, I think, and I teach men, I have to teach men how to notice women who are sending them signals of sexual interest. I never saw them. My second wife and third wife now, my ex-wife used to point out, that woman's flirting with you. That woman's coming on you. What woman? I didn't even notice. Same thing with my wife now. And you know what? I've learned to notice. I've learned to pay attention to those subtle signs women send. They're not going to put up a billboard that says, hey, asshole, ask for my number, right? Hey, dummy, I want to get naked with you. But they will send a lot of signals if we notice and pay attention.
Can you please elaborate on some of those signals?
Please.
What I've noticed is like some of the signals that I was taught was a signal. Sometimes you'll
Like
get them,
twirling their hair, crossing
yeah,
their ankles, their eyes dilating, all that stuff
and
that,
you'll approach based on the signal that you get, and sometimes the signal will be very strong, and then you'll realize that she'll claim that she's not that into you to begin with. So please elaborate on what some of those signals are.
All right. And I'll say up front, you're never going to get this right. So I teach a skill set to at least test. Okay. Because, okay. So here's the thing. Yeah, I get this stuff's frustrating. I know I'm a guy. It's frustrating. So I get that, like the dating gurus, all, the woman twirling her hair. I tell you what, I'll be in my car at a stoplight and watch the woman sitting in front of me twirling her hair. She doesn't even know I exist. There's no guy around. I think I'm going to make a generalization that'll probably, bite me on the ass. I think in general, the stupider the woman, the more she sits and twirls her hair. She's just, she doesn't have much going on other than this is interesting. I'm sitting here twirling my hair with my finger. I don't think that's an indicator of interest. I think it's usually an indicator of dumbness. So I would say, don't listen to the dating gurus on that one. Now, crossing their ankles, I don't know. When they say, notice their eyes, the dilation of their eyes, how the fuck are you going to get close enough to see if their eyes are dilated when they look your direction? So I think most of that's just forget it. But women will send you signals. And I think a smile and eye contact are probably the top ones. If they just look your way, and if you look and they hold an eye contact, for at least a moment or so, that's some sort of opening. That's some sort of open door. If they smile at you, that's some sort of open door. Now I tell guys, I don't teach pickup. I don't teach approach. I don't teach guys, oh, all right, here's how you go get the hottest woman in the room to give you her digits. I don't teach that. What I do teach is attraction. That if a woman sends you a signal that appears to be of interest, go talk to her. Go do what I call testing for interest. Just walk up, tell her your name. Say, how's your day going so far? What you up to? Doesn't have to be clever. Doesn't have to be funny. Just, introduce yourself. So what's your name? Where are you from? What's your story? Just anything. And if she seems to have interest in talking to you, all right, there's some interest going on there. And then you test at 3 different levels. I can talk more about that if you want. So if a woman seems to send you an indicator of interest, go talk to her. Just tell her and guys think, well, I have to say something clever, be funny. No, if she already noticed you, you don't have to go do something to up her interest level. She already noticed you. Okay. She already opened the door for you. Okay. Now, the ones, like I said, eye contact, looking your way, turning your way, smiling at you, those are the most common. If she's in close proximity, kind of bumping up against you, leaning into you a little bit, what I call the breast brush. I've had to teach women this, that I had to teach an ex-girlfriend this. She grew up in Alaska, and she would just like grab my crotch when she, wanted, but wait. Yeah, you're Winston. I said, does that work like on Alaskan fishermen? I said, you got to be subtle. And I said, practice the breast brush if you want, and that's a metaphor. If you want my attention, and having just, was that she's was that her boob that just brushed against my arm? That gets our attention, right? So we notice. So women will be subtle with that. So maybe if they're next to you, they lean against you, kind of touch your hand, touch your arm. And again, those aren't guarantees. Sometimes women just do that because they just like attention, right? That's all. They just like attention. Now, the ones that my wife tends to point out, that women down here, walking in front of you like 3 different times. You go, whoa, see, that's just the 3rd time she walked by me. Why? Maybe I'll say, well, as a waitress, that's her job to walk. No. The way she walked in front of you is not just because she's the waitress. I go, oh, yeah. Or the other one, this is the one that always confused me as a guy. The waitress or whoever comes and puts something on the table and leans over where you get a total cleavage shot. You guys ever gotten cleavage shots?
At Hooters, yeah.
Well, at Hooters, no. I bet you've gotten more than that. But we guys go, oh, she just didn't know her shirt kind of hung open and you could, look up and see her bra. And women tell me, yes, they know. Women know that their shirt hangs open and you get a boob shot. They know that. It's not an accident. I used to think, oh, they just didn't realize when they leaned
Same
like
thing.
that. Yeah, they know it. Now, the other one that I didn't know is that jutting a hip out. So like the woman standing and kind of just juts one hip out to the side, especially when you're behind her, right? That's primate behavior. That's what gorillas do to signal I'm ready, right? And so, why do you think every woman wants to look like Kim Kardashian? Why do you think that women get butt implants? Why do you think they wear their Apple jeans? The butt is a signal of pay attention. Do they still buy Apple jeans?
No, hell no.
Not anymore. I'm showing my age. One of those.
Yo.
So the woman jutting a hip out. And so these are all signals. Woman laughing at your jokes, a woman making a joke.
Funny though, Robert.
And if they laugh at you, go with it, man.
Yeah,
if they laugh at your
weak.
jokes, go with it. And then escalate it, and then maybe start touching their arm a little bit. Then require something of them. Hey, come on over here. Take their hand and lead them somewhere. Say, hey, take your phone out and say, listen, I got to bounce, but I'm going to call you later. Give me your number. And then with your phone out in front of them, say, tell them, don't ask. And then when they give you the number, and you punch it into your phone right then, and hit call, and call them right there in front of them. And say, hey, this is Robert, this is Glassford, this is Prince. I'm standing right in front of you. And I said, I'm going to call you later this week. I'm going to send you a message, or I'm going to hit you up. I just wanted you to know who this was on your phone. And then hang it up and say, there, I'm calling you back. And say, got to bounce. I'm going to get back in touch with you. So it's these little things that you test to see how high their interest is. I tell guys, don't guess, test. So she looked at you. She smiled. She laughed at your joke. She jutted a hip. You got a cleavage shot. She walked in front of you 3 times. She looked over her shoulder at you. Whatever. Go take some action, some bold action, and interact with her in some way to find out, was that truly an invitation? If it wasn't, no harm, no foul. No big deal. But go find out. Test. Don't guess.
Got you. And my final question, how does a man truly get the sex life and the career life that he wants?
Oh my goodness, that's like a whole workshop right there. Here's a good place to start. Well, let me throw out a couple of things. One is, I teach men, you got to be able to ask yourself, what do I want? What feels right to me? What feels good to me? What turns me on? What excites me? And then spend as much time doing that as possible. Live in your sweet spots, I call it. If you're living a life that's not in your sweet spots, that's one reason I moved to Mexico. Every time I came here, I just felt good. It excited me. I look forward to it. I moved back. I go back to Seattle after spending 3, 5, 6 days here in Mexico. I'd be dreading leaving here. I'd be depressed when I got back to Seattle. It'd be rainy and gray, and nobody talks to each other. Everybody's in their car, and nobody's on the street, or no sunshine. And I thought, I got to live in Mexico. It's a sweet spot for me. And so, even with my work, I organize my schedule where, for example, we're talking, and our call began at 1 o'clock my time. I almost never schedule clients or interviews before 1 o'clock my time. That's my writing time. I get up in the morning, 7 o'clock, make the coffee, go with the dog outside, watch the sun come up, drink my coffee, read some stuff, write in my journal, start doing a little work. My wife comes down in her Lululemons and say, "You ready to take the dog for a walk?" We take the dog for a walk. And by then it's about 9:30. And then from 9:30, I write until noon, 1 o'clock. Because to me, writing's a sweet spot. I got a lot of books I want to write. So I've orchestrated my life to let me live my sweet spot as much as possible. And I only invite people into my life that love me and love the way I live and are supportive of that. Like these 4 guys in my house this weekend. Several of them have been in my house several times over the last 5 years or so. I surround myself with people that are good people and that think I'm amazing. And I used to hang out with people that, were critical or undependable or, weren't available to help me when I was in need. Like I said, I was telling you before the call, I got COVID about 3 weeks ago and then really had an internal meltdown with some real issues. I know I got at least 25 guys in my life I could call up and I say, "Can you come help?" They'd get on a plane and fly here to help me. Right? So that's the second thing I would say. If you want the kind of life you want, you got to have good guy friends. And that's something I started working on I've been working on it for a while, but about 6 years ago, my wife and I just got married. I'm living out here in Mexico. My wife and I speak all Spanish, but I wasn't a Spanish speaker before I could, order in a restaurant, but so I've had to learn Spanish. So I'm down here in Mexico, don't know men here. I'm not fluent enough to have a bunch of Mexican guy friends. So I realized I had guy friends, and I was talking about this at a seminar I was leading, and one guy said, "I'm in this men's program, and we have 3 workshops a year. We go to the desert, we do this, we do that." And I said, "I'm in." So I've been in this program now for 6 years, and I just got the best men friends. Just before this call today with you guys, I was on Zoom writing with 4 or 5 other guys that, we all get on Zoom every morning and write. So I've got my life filled with men that support me, hold me accountable, love me, and that just keeps me moving in the direction I go. And I promise you, we've talked quite a bit about, how do we get women? How do we make them happy? How do we stay sane? You don't have to ask that about your guy friends. How do I understand my guy friends? How do I keep them sane? How do I keep them from making? You don't have to do that with your guy friends. So I surround myself with men, and I have very few women in my life. Really, the only women in my life are my mother, my wife, my stepdaughter, and my granddaughter, and my pit bull Nala that sits down here at my feet. Those are the only women in my life. That's all I need. That's all I want. I'm not on social media. I don't have a bunch, I don't have a bunch of women followers. I fill my life with men. And I tell you what, since I started doing that, like I said, in my 50s and 60s, my life's taken off. I bought a house down here 6 years ago. I paid it off in 3 years. I have no debt. I'm doing what I love. I travel. I fly first class. I have a wife that fucks me like a cheap Mexican whore. And she says that's my favorite nickname. Her favorite nickname is when I call her my puta mexicana. She's a gym rat. She works out 2 hours a day. She loves taking care of her body. She loves making me happy, and I make her happy, and she makes me happy. So, yeah, live in your sweet spots and build a great posse of men. You need a tribe. You need a posse. You need a pack of men with you.
Yeah, at 67, man, I know some men would kill for that kind of sex life, man. Wow.
Yeah, like my wife says, would you want it any other way? You should, say, "Oh, again, you want to have sex again?" Yeah. So, she'd be happy to have sex 2 or 3 times a day. And
God bless you.
God bless me. So again, I left behind the things that weren't serving me and kept inviting things into my life that did, and they seem to just find you. She found me. I was walking down the street here in Puerto Vallarta, and I heard a voice that, "Hola, senor, want a massage?" And they do that all the time here. Massage parlors, almost anything. They stand out front and invite you to come in because it's a tourist town. And I said, "No, no way, tal vez mañana, not today, maybe tomorrow." Kept walking. And I thought, I liked her voice. So I turned around, went back, and said, "How much?" So I got a massage, and I just liked her. I liked her energy. She just had a great vibe about her. So for about 6 months, I just kind of would go back and get a massage every other week or so. And I already had another massage therapist I went to pretty regular. After about 6 months, she basically propositioned me. I said, "Why don't we go out?" So I took her out, and then for about a year, that's all we did. She'd come over to my house every Saturday night. We'd have sex. That's all it was. After about a year, she said, "I like hanging out with you." And that scared me. I thought about it. Next week, I said, "I like hanging out with you too." So we started seeing each other more, like having a real life relationship. And like I said, we just celebrated our 6th anniversary. So
Nice.
I wasn't looking for her. I wasn't looking for this house. It found me. I wasn't looking for this pit bull. She found me. I wasn't looking for the RV I bought last year. It found me. It just great stuff just keeps coming into my life, and I keep saying yes to it.
Mm.
And yeah, I'd kill for my life. I love my life, but it begins with living in your sweet spots, to keep asking yourself, what do you want? What feels right to you? What feels good? And then maximize the time in your sweet spots, minimize what's not.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Glover. This has been,
Thank you. This has been fun. This has been fun.
Yeah,
I,
very
I gotta watch this one back, man. I
for
certainly
real.
appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us.
Thank you for the invitation. I've really enjoyed it. And let me know when this goes live, and I'll spread the word.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.